MPs are slated to return to the House of Commons today. This as anti-vaccine protesters converge on Parliament Hill for a third straight day. The demonstrations brought the city to a standstill over the weekend, and organizers say they're not leaving until their demands are met. So with more on the situation and what's expected today, let's bring in our Ottawa Bureau Chief, Mercedes Stephenson. Good morning, Mercedes.
Good morning. How are you?
I am great. Thanks for joining us this morning. And let's talk about how things are shaping up in Ottawa this morning. How might the protest impact the parliamentary restart?
Well, it's going to restart no matter what. The difficulty will be for some MPs who want to actually go to Parliament Hill in person. I went out before we sat down to chat this morning and had a little look around at what's happening. And I can tell you that what I last saw was about 7 blocks back from Parliament Hill, still pretty much gridlocked on all of the main streets going in. There was one that had more openings on it, a street called Elgin, but a lot of the ones that parliamentarians use to go to work are blocked by trucks that are either running or parked. And that has been the case since I first started looking out early this morning while it was still dark. Now, there is a virtual parliament in session, so it won't actually stop any MPs from being able to do their jobs, but they may not be able to show up on Parliament Hill. And there's another question in terms of security, of how comfortable people might feel trying to enter Parliament Hill. Talking to some MPs this morning, there was a warning from the Sergeant at Arms. He runs security late last week that some members of this protest group were saying they were looking for MPs' home addresses. So perhaps a few more will choose to stay home. I suspect several Conservative MPs will still go this morning, but it's certainly, whether you're an MP or just a normal citizen here in Ottawa, has completely snarled traffic for now the 4th day in a row.
Yeah, there's really no telling how long they plan to be there. They say they're not going to leave until they feel like they're being heard. So what are you hearing from protest organizers, and what do they want exactly? And do they feel like they're making any headway when it comes to being heard?
Well, it doesn't appear that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has talked to them. Erin O'Toole did. Prime Minister Trudeau was actually moved to another location over security concerns around the protest coming in. And I should say that this has been a protest that has had some extremist elements attached on. It was also very peaceful this weekend. While it was inconvenient, there wasn't violence. It was kind of like a party atmosphere, and people seemed to just be blowing off steam after having been inside with COVID. In terms of what their demands are, this seems to be evolving, and it's not consistent across the group. So it started with truckers wanting the federal government to reverse the vaccine mandate at the border. That is something that Justin Trudeau does have the power to do. However, he can't make Joe Biden change the rules. The president has the same rule in place for truckers entering the United States. That then evolved into getting rid of all vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions, many of which are actually provincial governments. And one organizer, Patrick King, who in the past has been affiliated with far-right movements, says that they're not leaving until the Liberal Party is out of power. So as you can see, this is a moving target, and it doesn't seem to be consistent across the protesters with what exactly they're looking for.
Now, in terms of what happened over the weekend, we know there are some investigations taking place. What are you hearing from police, and what does it look like when we're talking about enforcement in the days to come?
I can tell you there's a lot of frustration for people who live in downtown Ottawa because the noise has been nonstop. The honking is not just on Parliament Hill. It's for blocks and blocks back, and it is going for hours and hours and hours. Every day, people can't drive into or out of their homes. They can't get groceries. So there's certainly a sense of frustration with the Ottawa police by a lot of residents who say they want them to do more enforcement. The police have said they were prioritizing safety and managing traffic. They are now moving into more of an enforcement posture. It's not clear really whether they're going to forcibly clear protesters out at some point. The thought was sort of from sources I was talking to, let things go over the weekend, don't escalate things, maybe move in next week. But with no sign of this alleviating, it's a big question mark, and it's costing a lot of money. The Ottawa police are pegging this at $800,000 a day now in terms of what it is costing to police this. And of course, as you saw, there was quite a bit of anger and outrage over somebody dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier at the National War Memorial and the defacing of the Terry Fox statue on Parliament Hill. Most of the protest was peaceful, but some of those elements very disturbing. Also seen Confederate flags, at least 2, and a Nazi flag as well. So again, it's a very wide-ranging protest, but whatever the case, it is still clogging up the streets of Ottawa, and you're going to see more and more pressure, I think, on the local government here in Ottawa to do something about that.
All right, and we know that you'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Mercedes Stephenson in Ottawa, thanks so much.